Stephen Amell is back as Green Arrow. Get ready for this, guys. I'm so excited to make this video today. We're going to be doing my review for The Flash episode 9 of season 9. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future DCTV videos later this year. So this episode starts with a time jump. We're 1 month into the future from the previous episode, but we don't need to talk about that previous episode because this episode was amazing. We have the return of Oliver Queen, the return of John Diggle, the return of Kid Flash. So much went on in this episode, and truly it was amazing. It's a 9.5 out of 10, only for a couple of scenes, but really throughout this whole episode it was a 10 out of 10. It was a true Arrowverse episode. It really gave me the chills many times, and there was so many callbacks. We're going to be breaking this down and so much more throughout this video, and as you can tell by the tone of my voice, I am very excited today because that was an insane episode. I'm not going to stop talking about it. We're going to make some extra videos on this in the next few days. Also, they released the trailer for the next episode. I'm going to have that video out later today as well because Reverse Flash is back, baby, and I'm excited to talk about it. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this review and breakdown of this amazing, crazy crossover episode. Okay, so Barry's 30 again. There is a surprise party. He is completely surprised. This has been organized by Iris and the rest of Team Flash. He's basically turned 30 again. If you remember back when he got zapped by that crazy scientist, basically his body changed, you know, his molecules, and it sent him back a couple of years. He was supposed to be 30 during the season when Cicada was around, so yeah, he's 30 again now, and that's just an in-world kind of thing, whereas I don't think we kind of noticed that from the outside. But at the surprise party, Kid Flash is there, Diggle's there, and the rest of Team Flash is there, along with Singh and Kramer, who have a funny short scene together, but it's amazing to see Diggle back. I'm so happy, and to see Kid Flash back, he's just his hippie self again. However, there is something slightly off with him, because Kid Flash reveals to Barry that he's been projecting himself into the Speed Force and into other timelines, and at that point I was like, wow, like he is that powerful. Like he always shows up with something different, like some sort of new power, but this is very interesting. And so they talk to each other briefly, and something is off with Wally, and you just can't quite tell, but you know something's going on. And so Barry talks to Diggle, and he is given Oliver's bow, and so you know as soon as this shows up it's going to be in use in this episode. And so Diggle refers to the fact that they thought they lost Oliver's bow on Earth 38, which is a nice reference back to Supergirl, and that's the Earth where he was originally killed, but they managed to get a hold of it. And so Diggle for some reason offers Barry the bow, but he refuses it. He just doesn't think he deserves the bow, and maybe it should be put on display in the hall, maybe instead of him having it himself. So I think that's fair enough. But right after this, everyone goes on to celebrate Barry's birthday, and Barry cheers everyone, but it turns out, as Barry realizes and everyone sees the effects very quick, they are drugged by none other than a returning Ramsey Rosso, aka Bloodwork. He is back and he has new powers. He is very powerful. He's been planning this long game for a long time, and so he's broken out of Argus and he has taken control of Team Flash. They all turn into zombies apart from Iris. Somehow Nora within inside of her has given her some sort of healing abilities to be able to be resistant to it, and I think that's just because she's going to be a speedster, and so she has that within inside of herself. And then also Chester isn't affected much because he didn't drink, so he's chased after by all of the zombies. And actually later in this episode, Keone comes to the rescue. She's able to use her powers and control them. I don't want to talk too much about all of that because I feel like the most important stuff is what's happening with Bloodwork, Barry, Wally, and also the return of Oliver Queen, which we'll get to in just a minute, guys. Just hold on to your horses. I know what you're saying right now. I just want to hear about Oliver Queen, but we're going to get to Green Arrow in just a second. And so Barry is plunged into this world of darkness, and it's, you know, a world that is just completely black, and there is some red light on his face. It very much so looks like some sort of film set. But while Bloodwork is doing this, he's in multiple places at once because he's messing with Wally. He's trying to get into Wally's mind to use his trauma for his own good. taking him back to his childhood home, making him relive it and basically become subservient to him so he can control Wally's extremely powerful powers. And so he taps in even further when he refers to Jessie Quick and the fact that she's never coming back, and that he's been wrestling with that too. And it becomes very apparent very quick that he's not been seeing alternate timelines, he's been seeing the multiverse. And so they show us the multiverse. You see Wally's eyes go completely golden. This was an amazing reveal in this episode, the fact that Wally can see these other Earths that were created during Crisis. And obviously loads of worlds are destroyed, but there were new ones created, and so there could be another Jessie Quick out there. I really like the mention of Jessie Quick right here because we haven't seen her in a long time. And yeah, it's true, they were very close, and during Crisis it was said that she died. But because of Crisis there was other Earths created, so why can't there be another Jessie out there? And I think if Wally wanted to look, he could probably find her if he wants to look further into the multiverse. And so Bloodwork is truly manipulating him at this point. He knows how to get inside his head, and it's also revealed that Bloodwork wants to create a new multiverse where no one has to die. That is his true overarching goal. And so we go back to Barry next, and this scene is really innovative. It's actually probably one of the most creative scenes I've seen from The Flash, because they totally break the fourth wall with Bloodwork saying, we need to take this lighting out, you know, we need a gaffer in here or whatever. And he takes him out, he brings him to a set, which is the real set inside Barry's CSI lab, and he records a piece to the TV, and Bloodwork is the director. It's like he's just the puppet master controlling everyone. So this was an insane moment. I thought it was really fun as a filmmaker to see them actually go behind the scenes and, you know, venture through the set, because you never see what's behind these sets, and this is literally what was behind the set. So I believe this is one of the first fourth wall breaks that they've done on the show. You even see Frost's body at one point, it drops to the ground and Caitlin returns. So that was a nice moment just to see Caitlin, even though it wasn't the real Caitlin and it was Bloodwork controlling her. But nevertheless, it was cool to see them back. And then shortly after that, Wally tells Barry to shut up and they fight it out, but Barry isn't able to get the upper hand, and Wally actually phases his hand through Barry and kills him right there on the spot. And at this point I was like, what the hell? What is happening? But I knew at that moment what was going to precede that, and this is so exciting, guys. The return of Oliver Queen, aka the Green Arrow, played by Stephen Amell. Barry, what did you do? Oliver says. And so as Barry wakes up, he's completely shocked to see a very much alive looking Oliver, and he's on Lian-Yu. He wonders, how have I got here? To this sort of purgatory that Oliver has been waiting in, and obviously it takes the form of Lian-Yu. And so Barry is on the other side with Oliver. They're in a very similar situation, although Oliver is more powerful. And according to Oliver, Barry is in fact actually dead, and Oliver does have the power to bring him back, but there is something within inside Barry that makes him want to maybe stay here and not go back. And so also at this point we get some vital information from Oliver himself, saying that there are many other worlds out there that were created during Crisis, and the fact that Bloodwork wants to create a new multiverse to replace this one, and Wally was in fact reaching out to new worlds and not new timelines. That is what he tells Barry, and this was just such a great moment, seeing them reunite after hugging for the very first time in such a long time, since Oliver died and sacrificed himself, and we've seen him as the Spectre. So Oliver has been watching over all of them as the Spectre. We get a slight retcon from what we saw at the start of the season with Red Death, because Oliver reveals that Red Death is actually from a different Earth, not a different timeline. So that was a kind of crazy reveal right there. And then Wally is fully taken over at this point as we go back to Central City, and he forms some sort of gateway to the multiverse. You see it in the sky, it's like a portal. He is really powerful. Like, if he's able to truly tap into these powers, he could even be more powerful than Barry himself. And so Oliver senses this attack and the fact that it's starting, because this threatens the multiverse, and the only way that he's able to come back is when something threatens the multiverse, and this is the case. And so after Barry questions how is it right that he got extra years and Oliver died, and Frost died, Caitlin died, but Oliver says that he has to learn to live with that guilt. And at this point I got major chills because Oliver said the iconic line from the Flash's first episode, "You can be a guiding light, a hero." I got major chills as he said that. That was one of the greatest moments of this entire episode. Such a great callback. And so it's at this point that the two of them make their way back to our Earth Prime, and Barry realizes he's alive, he's back. But it's at that point that he realizes that Oliver's there with him, and he's fully suited up in his Green Arrow costume. So he's back, the Arrow music is on, and he goes, "Let's kick some ass." And at this moment I was losing my mind. I did a watch party with Flashverse. If you check out his channel, you can see my reaction live as we were watching this episode. I lost my mind at this point. So the Flash and Green Arrow go out and they face off against Bloodwork and Kid Flash, who's been totally controlled at this point. Oliver tells Bloodwork that he's been pissing him off. I love that line. That was just such a good one-off line, and it felt so true to who Oliver is and the way that he does scenes and interacts with people, especially bad guys. And so what proceeds is an amazing Arrow style fight scene with the Arrow music. It was just so good. It was an insane scene and Oliver goes insane. It's so good to see him fighting in that true Arrow style. Let me know, what did you guys think about this scene in the comments down below. This was exactly what I was waiting for. And so we have Diggle back as Keone rescues all of Team Flash and everyone else. Diggle was given his Spartan helmet. He even throws up, which is a funny reference to every time he's there on the Flash. So he makes his way to help out Oliver and Barry to take on Bloodwork and Kid Flash. And so the Flash goes off, he faces off against Kid Flash, and Barry tries to get inside of his head because he knows that Wally is somewhat there and listening, and he says, "You can do this, Wally, you can beat him." And we have flashbacks to nice moments with Wally as he takes back control and becomes Kid Flash once again. So that was a great moment between the Flash and Kid Flash, but what's even greater is the Oliver and Diggle reunion. Oliver says, "I can explain," and Diggle's like, "I don't need answers. It's great to have you back." So amazing to see them both reunite on screen. It's been such a long time. We've been seeing David Ramsey as Diggle in Superman, Lois, The Flash, Supergirl, and all the other shows, but it's just great to see the two of them back, the OGs from Arrow. But what follows next is undoubtedly the best moment in the entire episode, and that's when Oliver says, and I've got to do the impression, so excuse my accent, but "Ramsey Rosso, you have failed this city." Ugh, major chills. I could not believe my eyes. I knew it as soon as the camera was kind of wider and you could tell it was going to go in on Oliver. We definitely lost our minds the most watching this scene because we were just waiting for Oliver to say, "You have failed this city." And so it finally happened and he defeats Ramsey as Oliver uses a special arrow to pierce it through the multiverse, shutting the breach and turning Ramsey back into a human. He has no powers anymore. Oliver used his powers to stop him because he was a threat to the entire multiverse. And so at this point he says, "I was supposed to save the multiverse." And Barry replies, "Don't worry, that's our job." And you get this shot of all the heroes, Kid Flash, the Flash, Green Arrow, and Spartan. And at that moment I was like, this is what I'm here for. This is the true Arrowverse moment that we have come to love over these many years. What a line. So that pretty much does it for the action side of the episode. Next up we get some character stuff with Oliver and Diggle and also Barry. So Oliver and Diggle back at Star Labs go on to talk about the multiverse with the rest of Team Flash and what Oliver has been doing all this time. And so they go back to the party with Oliver this time. Very exciting. Obviously the classic scene between Barry and Oliver has to happen in the pub, you know, just having a beer together or whatever, and we'll get to that in a minute. But there is some decently big revelations about what Oliver has been doing. He's been looking over and keeping an eye on absolutely everyone. So Diggle talks about Mia, so obviously they're still Team Arrow behind the scenes, and also he talks about the fact that Oliver's son is in college now and he's doing really good, And also they talk about Felicity. It's nice to hear her name. And so Oliver says our destiny has been written in regards to them. So Oliver will have to go away. He can't come back, which is sad. However, if the multiverse is ever ending again, or there is a true threat, he could come back. And so I like the way that they ended Oliver's story, and the fact that there is always a way that he can come back and interact with all of the Arrowverse characters. And then Oliver goes on to talk about Diggle's decision in regards to his Green Lantern ring that he was offered. Oliver said that he made the right choice and it was all about temptation, and he chose his family over that, and that is a really good thing according to Oliver. And so then we go to the final scene in the episode with Barry and Oliver at the bar having a drink together, and they talk about how like Barry has saved Central City like what, 170 times. I think that is a reference to how many episodes they've done on the show, because it's somewhere along those lines right now. But Barry's like, you started this, Oliver, you are the hero for all of us and you've inspired us. And Oliver says there are plenty of flashes out there when Barry asks about the multiverse and what's out there. So that's a teaser for potential new flashes. I don't think we're gonna have time this season, but wouldn't it be great if we had a spin-off? This definitely could set up some sort of spin-off because of what they set up here and the fact that there are so many other Earths out there. There might be, you know, Jesse Quicks out there. There might be different Wally West, different Barry Allens, and lots of different opportunities for stories to be told. And Barry has one last final question for Oliver. Obviously Oliver is all-knowing right now, so best get in those questions, Barry. And Barry asks if he's doing enough with his time and his powers. And then Oliver replies, and this is word for word, do you give people hope? Are you moving through your city like a guardian angel? Do you make a difference? And he goes on to say, that bolt of lightning chose you. Don't ever forget it. And I lost my mind once again. That was a proper Oliver moment, like a proper speech that you can imagine happening on Arrow, with the interaction between the Flash and Arrow. Like that is exactly what we got in the start of the Flash when Oliver showed up for the first time, when Barry was seeking advice. And the final moment of the episode is a funny moment between Barry and Oliver, because Barry's like, you're kidding, you're a billionaire, when he's like, no, you can pay for it. Seems that being the Spectre doesn't pay very well. So yeah, it was a great episode. They really gave us everything, and it's everything that I wanted from Oliver's return. It's a true love letter to the Arrowverse, and it's super nostalgic. They fit in all the classic Arrow lines that he's said in the past, and they've manipulated it in a good way. And I love that they spent time at the end of the episode with Diggle and with Barry to give us those character moments between the two of them, because this is going to be the last time. It's bittersweet, but it was amazing, and I can't wait to rewatch this episode in the next few days, because I'm not going to be stopping talking about it. So as I said earlier, this is a 9.5 out of 10 episode. It's really, really good. Like, it's 10 out of 10 throughout the whole episode. I think the only thing that kind of lets it down a tiny bit, like the scenes that maybe you would potentially skip if rewatching, is the Allegra scenes with Chester. It was definitely the least interesting part. Like, there was so much going on in the episode that was so interesting, and I really felt like we could have just skipped over that part. So I think what they've done with Oliver is great. I love the way that they brought him back. It makes total sense, and it leaves the doors open for the future in terms of us Arrowverse fans thinking, okay, maybe Oliver's going to return. Obviously off screen, this is not going to happen on screen again, but this is just the perfect kind of swan song for Green Arrow and the rest of the characters. So let's go back and relive those amazing moments throughout this episode by rewatching it. In the next few days, let's show our love for the Arrowverse and our love for the Flash and Arrow by posting and spamming Stephen Amell and, you know, everyone that has taken part in this, because it's truly something extremely special. And so it's still blowing my mind that we got a "you have failed this city" line one more time. They had to fit it in there. So that does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps out the channel. Also subscribe and turn on notifications to not miss any videos. I'm going to be making a trailer breakdown for that Reverse Flash trailer that they released after the episode finished. That's going to be coming out later in the day, but for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.